Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. You're watching P3, the place where we feature individuals who have tapped into their power, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Janie Terrazas, and today I have the wonderful Sara Hernandez. She is the creator of Bonita Brides and Wapo Grooms. She really is an artist at heart. She's, I guess, what would be considered like a boss babe. She's an entrepreneur and a mindful mother and one of my dear friends. Thank you, Sara, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I know power, passion, and purpose really tie into your business. You know, you wouldn't have the success that you do in your field if you were not dialed into these things.
For me, you know, the way you present it, power, passion, purpose, I love that order. But for me, I think it was a different order for me. I think the passion was always there. You know, my recollection as a young person is different than other people. I remember sitting down with my cousin who's much older than me. He's like 50 something. And he's like, oh no, you've always been like this. You didn't just become this when you moved to Los Angeles. I remember you being like a kid in the house with your conservative parents and you were just beaten to your own drummer. And they're like, they've come as far as they've come now because you're their daughter. You know, I remember running into a girlfriend in LA who was like, oh no, you didn't just start doing makeup in college. You used to do my makeup for the talent shows in high school. And don't you remember we would skip class and go and do photo shoots and you'd do my makeup and take the pictures and do everything. So I think the passion was is a God-given seed. And I think that that is what resides in every human being, that there's a throbbing imprint and spirit that is given to you by God. And the problem is that with a lot of us, we're changed or programmed, if you want to call it, throughout our childhood. And so we forget and we fall asleep to that passion, I guess. And we go on someone else's path or what someone else thinks we'd be good at or what we'd like to do, kind of thing. There was something in me that always told me Hollywood. I didn't know if that meant I was going to be an actress or if I was going to do whatever. And then I remember watching Oprah. We didn't have cable. My parents are very conservative. There was no cable in my house. And this is when cable was like still only even like 15 channels. It was like MTV was like the worst thing you could watch. But no cable, so I could watch Oprah. And then like, you know, on this, so I remember watching the Super Bowl one year and there was a music video and I never got to watch music videos, but they played a music video as like a commercial. And it was the Michael Jackson Scream video. And Janet Jackson is in that video. And she had this crazy, amazing like makeup and smoky eye. And I just was like, is that so amazing? It's so transformative. And then I saw Oprah that week and the makeup artist, his name's Kevin Aquan, who had done her makeup for that video was on the TV show. And he was talking about a smoky eye. And that was the first time I'd ever heard that word. I'm getting goosebumps. That was it. It was over. I asked my mom for the Kevin Aquan makeup book for Christmas. I would steal all her little anything like I remember just like taking stuff out of her bathroom and like mixing it to try and make what I thought would look, you know, because I didn't have, this is before like product boxes and all that kind of thing or YouTube videos. I got a book. I looked at the picture. I went and got lip gloss and this and that and sparkles and whatever and tried to make it look like that. And that was it. I was just doing makeup ever since. So the passion was there. And then I think, you know, the power kind of came later. And for me, I see my power as vulnerability. That's really like the link for me is like the more I step into who I really am and the more I shed who I think I'm supposed to be or who I think the world wants me to be or how I should present myself. And the more I live from a place of authenticity, which for me is being vulnerable because the more vulnerable I am, the closer the connections I have with the client, with my son, with people around me that I want to do business with. And, you know, that's what creates connection. And for me, that's my power, you know, and even if that is showing what people would think is maybe a weakness. To me, I'd rather be authentic and have people attracted to me in business or clients attracted to me who, live from that same kind of state of mind.
Exactly.
Purpose came probably way later too, like maybe after I had my son. Because I think for a long time, I just really was like in that Hollywood dream, like I want to be like a celebrity makeup artist and like make all this money. And what does that mean? Like, why would I want that? Why would I want that prestige? What is that? I think it was about not really honoring myself and loving myself and thinking that that would make me happy.
Mm.
And so I think that after I had my son, I realized like everything, at least for me, everything else like fades away. Like no other celebrity or anybody is as important as that little being to me. So I see my purpose as I want to raise a strong, authentic, vulnerable man. I think that's really important for our planet, for our culture.
Mm.
And what I know, I'm a first-time mom, so I don't have any of this stuff in the bag. I've had to learn it as I go. But what I know is that he's only going to learn as much as I practice and as much as I do myself. So being authentic, creating kind and loving, self-care habits, or rituals or whatever you want to call them, having compassion for people in my life, or strangers or people that I think are causing me pain and things like that. Those are the things that drive my purpose, because I want to mirror that for him, and I want him to know that it's not scary to live from a place of authenticity and to live from a place of compassion and to live from a place of letting your freak flag fly, whatever that means for you. And it doesn't matter if Tommy on the flippin' playground calls you a weirdo. Like, who cares? Like, great. All the weirdos are like the cool people. So, so like, how do I can say, oh, it's okay. Or I can live it. And he can see me every day, doing those things.
He's seeing you be courageous, because you're right in that in our culture, the way we view the word vulnerability and what stories have been put around that word and what that's supposed to mean to us, it's been condemned. And so I think there's a revival of understanding more deeply what that means, because when people hear vulnerable, they automatically think submissive and weak, and that means no boundaries. And I think that's another part of sharing conversations around this word and you expressing how it's tied to authenticity. And we can't have authenticity without vulnerability and humility.
Yeah.
What has been your way as a mother and a businesswoman and a wife? What do you do to make sure that you're nice and restored and replenished so that you can bring that to him? Bring the best of yourself as much as possible.
That's a great question. And it's an ever evolving situation that I'm constantly having to like go back and like check in. It was something that I had to really work on, because for me, at least when I had him, nothing else mattered. And so that included myself. And I think a lot of mothers can relate to that. And you lose yourself. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, wait, what happened? Like, I used to love this kind of music, or I used to love to do these kind of things. And I haven't done that stuff since I can't remember. And I feel dead inside, like what's going on? It's crazy making, but so mothers understanding the balance between self-care and self-love and taking care of your child it's crucial. And it's so hard. It was for me, I think, especially because maybe I was just kind of, like raised or programmed to believe that, you're supposed to be kind of like self-sacrificing, or, just put their needs before your own and that kind of a thing. And what I learned is that those things make me a better mother. And that's what I tell Venice. Mommy's going to do this because she needs to take care of her body. Mommy's going to do this because she's hungry and she needs to eat healthy food. Mommy's going to do meditate because that makes me a better mommy and I'm going to be a good mommy all day. And so I have a few things like in my toolbox that are kind of essentials, a daily morning meditation is, like, it's kind of like brushing my teeth, and not every day is perfect. Some days I miss it or I have an early morning and I have to end up doing it in the car before I walk into a client's house or something like that. But, and I'm not a long meditator because I have a 4-year-old. So I meditate between 4 and 6 minutes. And he's in there with me. He's putting pirate's booty in my palms and, sticking stuff down my shirt. But he knows, he's quiet, and he knows the timer and when it goes on and off. And then I write in my gratitude journal. And the whole practice is about 10 minutes. And gratitude has been it's something that you always hear about now, especially if you're like in the new wave, like spiritual world, like people like throw it around like gratitude, and it's true, but creating a daily gratitude practice is really transformational. That I don't know if some people would understand, like it's transformational. I have a life coach and she's wonderful, when she has got a lot of like cool, catchy sayings. And one of her sayings is that gratitude is your magic wand. So if there is any scenario or situation that feels just incomprehensible or just so awful, or it feels like that's the moment that you need to choose gratitude, and you can turn everything around. I don't have any money in the bank. Like, how can I be grateful for this? Because you're so stuck in that way of thinking, in that lack, in that space. I'm so grateful for this because you know what? I never have to be back here again. Because I've learned that this is a place that I don't want to go. And so I'm going to work really hard to not be here again.
It's finding the sweet spot in what's showing up, even if it's making you feel uncomfortable. It's like finding the gold, in that.
For sure.
In the situation.
Yeah. So I use my gratitude. It's like 5 things I write down every morning. And I actually try to pick things that aren't like the big things, because I don't need to always be grateful for like a new car, or, if I get a new car, of course I'm going to write that down because that's huge. But like, it's warm showers. It's a comfortable bed. It's a warm home with heat and air conditioning. It's people who support me. It's financial aid for a school that I really want to go to. It's stuff like that. It's things that it can be the little things. It's that I have clean, fresh food in my refrigerator. I'm an American doing like living my passion, doing something that I want. I'm already like super blessed. So there's a lot of things to be grateful. So those are the things that I have to remember. So those are some key things. The other things that keep me in balance and keep me being, a better mom and partner, friend, and, boss, I guess, are drinking water is like become a spiritual practice for me. That's something that you give to your body that is really essential, that it's such a small thing that people forget. And it's a daily thing that you can do. It's almost like a concentrated breath. When you drink water, you can have a little mantra in your head, and you can it's almost like a blessing, a water blessing, and that goes in and through your body and can create health and wellness. And it's not something that you have to like put your cute workout clothes on and get in the car and drive to the gym. It's right there. It's right there in front of you. You can do it whenever, and you can, it's cleansing. You can start, like, water is huge for me. It's cleansing. You can kind of start again. Showers are the same way. Even if it's a 5-minute shower, when I'm in the shower, underneath the shower head, if I'm feeling stressed or something's going on in my relationship or business, I can just imagine, I can visualize all of those stressings coming down, being washed away, going down the drain, and releasing those stressings and being open now for the blessings that are going to be coming my way.
Exactly. And I love that you brought that up. Whenever someone comes to have a session with me, I always have water there. And I tell them about the power of water and how it's so representative and symbolic in so many ways, and that we can speak the wellness. It's like making your own little tincture. It's like blessing. This is sacred. What is it that you need to fill yourself? At the very minimum, it's like even if you just think it or speak it, It's that love and that wholeness and the wellness, you know, it's health, you know, drinking helps. I'm gonna take a sip of water really quick.
Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. So those things are like simple things that I can do in my home, even if, you know, Steven and I were a one car family for like 3 or 4 years. And in LA, it worked okay. But in Texas, it was challenging to say the least. He has a job where he has to be there 40 hours a week. I'm at home with a toddler. So there were days where I don't want to use the word stuck, but I was at home. So I had to start to incorporate things that I could do within the four walls of my house. I'm sure a lot of other mothers can relate. Even if they do have a car, maybe they have a newborn and it's really hard to get everybody in the car and get out of the house and whatever. Nature, going outside, even if that is your own yard, you know, kind of grounding, sitting there. That's another big one. And then, you know, breathing. I have a lot of like breath techniques that I can use throughout the day to like start again. If I start to feel, you know, that's a longer practice. I've been working, you know, doing yoga and doing things for a long time, and I can feel the anxiety or the stress kind of start to rise up in my body. And so I have a few breath techniques that are very simple that can just stop, and so we can start again, and that starts to change how you respond to the world, how you respond to your toddler, how you respond to your partner, so that you can really be who you want to be instead of be this reactive person that isn't really you, that's just coming from like this fear-based mentality, right? Which is, you know, just, it's natural. It's the culture we live in. It's what we've been fed for a really long time. So to revert that, you have to have some of these practices going on. And then on a grander scale, of course, I love to go work out. I love to do yoga. I love to connect with girlfriends. I think for women, connecting with other women is essential. You know, some women have maybe a different idea of that, but for me, I do need, like, you know, when you presented me at the beginning, I need some of those soul sisters. It's not just women who live down the street. It's women who come from the same similar mindset as me that I can kind of riff with a little bit, and I can feel understood, or I can learn something. I like to learn. So, sorry, did you hear the little ding?
Yeah, no, but it's great because the timing of it was interesting. Because you said, I like to learn, and it's like, ding. But I love that you're an avid learner. And that's what's so amazing, that we can use this time and this experience to really get curious about our physiology and our psychology, and all the tools that are available to us. Something as simple as breath, you know, being able to give thanks for your breath and use the breath to learn how to manage emotions and your nervous system. It's all part of the self-care and really taking accountability and responsibility for how you're showing up, not coming from that reactive space, but leaving mercy and compassion for its natural, instinctual ways of wanting to behave. It's like you're doing all this other work so that you can sort of rise above it, witness it with compassion, and then choose something different. I also love that you reminded women of the importance of not only uniting together, but remembering what are the things that made you laugh and that you loved and that you like doing. Because when you go away from them, you said you sort of feel like, you know, dead, you know, it's like that aliveness goes away, which is tied to passion.
Having a baby is like, there's no really good analogy, but like, I remember laying on the bed and be like, oh my God, I forgot how much I love Mariah Carey music. And just like dancing like all day one day when I like kind of started to come out of the fog of like new motherhood. And it was like, you know, kind of a new dawn for me. And I was like, oh yeah, let me start to get back. And I had to relearn that stuff. Cause I think before then, especially, you know, before a kid or when you're single, there was always this mishap for me. It was like, things always seemed really easy, you know, when I was single, because you have all the time in the world, like, okay, now I'll take a shower, or now I'll listen to my music. You don't really have to consider anybody else's needs or consider anybody else's timeline or anybody else's schedule. Now I'm a mother, a partner, a boss, a business owner. I'm a creative genius. I'm constantly creating things. So I can be like, I can't have spontaneity in my life, but like, for the most part, I kind of have to, like, you know, plan it. I know in the morning I'm going to meditate. I know I'm going to, you know, do this. So those things, it starts to become habit. Like you don't think, oh, let me like wake up at a certain time so I can brush my teeth every day. Like you just know you need that 3 minutes to brush your teeth. So now it's just it's ingrained. I know I need my shower time. I know I need my meditation time. I know I need and it becomes more routine, and it's just like watering, my internal garden so that I can, bloom and be, a lovely person to be around.
Right, exactly, as much
Yeah.
as you possibly can. And it's basically you're describing this intentional, deliberate way of living. Like you just really are understanding now where your power, passion, purpose come from, what you need to do to make sure that you continue to stay aligned in them. So tell us a little more about Bonita Brides. Like you did makeup in LA, and she got to the point where she was working with celebrities. Like the thing that she had set her mind to do as a makeup artist, she went and mentored under people, some of the best in the business, was at the right place at the right time and had the right drive and the passion, like you said, and that desire to learn. It was like, hey, show me. Like, and then
Right.
you always remember to infuse your own sort of style on things, which I think was
Yeah.
really beautiful. But you ended up working with major celebrities like Prince and Carmen Electra. You ended up on movie sets. You got into working with Nick Cannon. And so here you were finally sort of what would be considered reaching reaching that pinnacle part. And and then now you have Bonita Brides. It's like you came back to Texas. So tell us just a little bit about that and how people can connect with you and whatever else you would love to share about what it is you do.
Well, I like what you said in the beginning. Like, I went out there with this idea and then it happened. And like, how does that happen? Because I know that like, not everybody does what I do or what you do, and creation or manifestation or whatever you want to call it is, it seems like these words almost seem like, oh, like they come from like Harry Potter or something, but like, because people like sitting at a desk watching this from like their office desk at Bank of America or whatever. It's like, well, like, how do you, like, what is that? How does that work? Like, I remember my parents being like, that's not like a job. Like, that's not like a real, like, that's not like a real, this is like, of course, before reality TV, now you see everybody getting their makeup done. They have their own glam rooms at their houses and whatever. But like, this was before it was like a thing. And I was like, there was an internal compass. There's an internal thing that happens. And then I said, I'm going to go do it. I've always had, there's lots of situations that I can tell the same story in. I was afraid to try out for the volleyball team, but I thought, I don't want to regret it. I'm going to try. I think I can do this. And then I made the volleyball team, all that kind of stuff. To be okay to take the risk and take the chance. So I moved out to LA. And then for me, it was like, I wanted to do these things. The manifestation comes from believing that you can do it. Believing in yourself is the first step. And then having fun with whichever step that you're in, right? God or the universe responds to joy. And I believe this is a Gabby Bernstein quote, but don't quote me. The universe works fast when you're having fun. So when we're not focused on, there's $0 in the bank, and so I got to get the job with, Jennifer Lopez or whatever. No, it's about like, like that would be so fun. Or even if I just get the job doing the dancers on the music video, that would be so fun. And like, I'm just that childlike mentality, right? So that was part of it. Whether I was at the mat counter, I was doing, the girls' makeup for prom. I've always said this from the beginning of my career. It doesn't matter who's sitting in my chair, whether it's my next door neighbor, mom friend that I'm helping out because she doesn't feel beautiful, or it's, Carmen Electra. Everyone is of equal value and equal importance. And I give everyone as much attention and as much importance and as much, love. And I do the same thing for everybody. So those were key. And then to me, the biggest thing is that moving through fear. So the opportunity, when you tell God or you tell the universe what you want, he will inevitably present it to you in your life. This is a fact. So when it comes, are you willing to walk through the door? Or are you too scared? Are you going to play small? You might fail. You might walk through the door and, trip and fall on your ass, right?
Oh my God, that's happened to me many times. Yes.
Oh, right. And fine, you get up and you try again. But that practice of being willing to walk into the darkness, or willing to walk into a space of something that is the unknown, that seems really scary, it is frightening the first few times you do it. But as you continue to make that practice part of your life, it becomes, don't get me wrong, I still feel the butterflies, I still feel the fire, but that is an inclination to me now that something amazing is happening, and I'm going to walk right into it. Whether it's in my relationship, or it's with a friend, or if it's with, so the fear isn't, it's a flag. It's an indicator. This is where I need to go, walk through this door right here. And we get confused, I think, because, naturally within our body and our soul compass is like fear. We're kind of like, wait a minute, is that something we should run away from? Right? Like a protective mechanism kind of kicks in. And so you have to be able to differentiate. Like, it's not you're not like camping and it's a bear trying to like tear down your tent. This is me driving up to Prince's house the first time. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. Let me pull over really quick. I also am not afraid to ask for help. So I'll call a life coach. I'll call a therapist. I think at that time I had a hypnotherapist. I called him and he did a little meditation with me over the phone to kind of set myself, right. There's a lot of loving and kindness that I practice within just my mind when something big is happening and I feel a little bit of the fear. I'll practice some loving and kindness, like mantras and things like that, in order to kind of realign myself so that whoever I am trying to connect with or impress, for lack of a better word, only feels the love from me and not the fear, because they're going to reflect what I give them. So if I give them fear, they're going to be like, "Ooh, she's not the right girl." But if I give them love, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, I like that. Feels good." Right? So I think that's been really the key to my success, all little steps along the way. Yes, I went from celebrity and film and all of that. And to make a long story short, I woke up one day and I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm really enjoying. For those of you who don't know, when you work with celebrities or you work in films, you just work really long hours. Like it's like, you're a doctor or something. Like the hours you put in, they're like 14-hour days, and if you're the talent, I don't know, Janie, you can probably speak to that. If you're the talent, maybe you feel a little bit more appreciated because you can maybe getting some back end points or something like that. But for me, we call us below the line employees. It's really just, that day. And so you feel like, oh, and so I got to a point where if the news header for those years of my life was that my time is priceless. And that was what just came. It's like I get these messages in my meditation. And the message I was getting was, my time is priceless. My time is priceless. So what do I want to do with my time if it's priceless? And I just took a step back. I ended up teaching yoga for about 5 years, and I kept my clientele. I'm sure I probably did your makeup a few times. And, I kept my clientele that I, really was tight with, and would still do hair and makeup for them, but I wasn't pursuing anything new or anything like that. And then I met Steven. We had our baby. And when we moved to Texas, I had another clear message, and my clear message was Bonita Brides. And I had actually had the message about 10 years before when I was living in LA. And I, sometimes you get messages and you're like, yeah, whatever, like, I'm not going to write a book, or I'm not going to, start this business. That's crazy, But so when everything started to fall into line. Steven was like, we should move to Texas. We should move to Austin. Here's the house. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now's the time. I got the message a long time ago. I'm starting this wedding business. And I started Bonita Brides about 2 years ago. And it's going really well. I try not to compare myself. I think that's sometimes one of my challenges. Looking at some of the other businesses that are similar to mine or that have been open around the same amount of time, kind of see what they're doing. And I have to remember that I have a different journey and a different path. And part of that is being a good mother and a good partner and growing and flourishing the seeds at home. And so that only allows for me to be present in my business so much. My family and like my spiritual journey come before my business. And so that's what I'm growing, first and foremost. And then I'm growing this. Yes, I want money. I like to, this is a Marie Forleo. I like fun tickets. I like to think of them like just makes life a little bit easier. You can, go and do what you want. But am I obsessed with power and success? No. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be successful. It just means that I'm not going to put all of my energy into this basket when I have a young child at home.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be on the phone and the computer all the time when he's in my presence.
Yeah.
I'm going to pour into that first, and then I'll pour into this when the time is right.
Right.
And so maybe 8 months to a year ago, I got another message on my meditation cushion, which was Guapo Grooms. So that is a secondary business that I'm starting that I'm really excited about. It's grooming services for men. So if you're kind of like, what does that mean? Like every guy that you've ever seen in a movie or in a music video, or like even those like hardcore rockers that you think are so badass, those dudes all had grooming services. They got their hair cut, they got their beards done, they might have a tiny little bit of makeup on. If at the very least they've got some anti-shine and some powder and some more, some skincare. And nobody, and when I mean nobody is doing that in the wedding business. And so I thought, what an easy transition to just go from like, I've already made all the contacts, I've created this business and this for, to cater towards weddings for brides. I can just have kind of like a sister or a brother business, for men. And so I've been floating it out there to my clients and a lot of my contacts, and everyone just loves the idea. And so if you happen to be watching this and you're a barber, definitely reach out to me because I'm staffing up right now.
And you're in Austin, but you also cater to clients here in San Antonio, right?
Yeah, so we're based in Austin, but I have team members in San Antonio. We do a lot of our weddings in the Hill Country, so like Dripping Springs, Fredericksburg, Comfort, Wimberley, the whole Hill Country.
If they're interested in connecting with you, let them know where they can find you. I can't say enough about her. Clearly, it's not just about, doing your makeup and glamming you up. It really is about bringing a loving, kind energy into the space and serving her clients like they truly are being treated like VIP.
You're my celebrity for that moment, for sure.
Yeah.
You get full treatment. Yeah. So I would love, everything's social media these days. So, the best place to connect with me is to follow me on Instagram, Bonita Brides, plural, or Guapo Grooms. Are both of my handles. And then if you're interested in services and you want to know more about it, you can always go to the websites also. And there's a lot of information on there. So same thing, bonitabrides.com, guapogrooms.com. And then they're both the same. If you want to contact me directly, it would be bonitabrides@gmail or guapogrooms@gmail. And yeah, I would love to hear from you.
Sara, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all your lovely wisdom and sharing a little bit about your transformational story. Yes. And thank you guys for tuning in to Rise Above TV, where we are empowering humanity and supporting unity. Your likes, shares, and follows are greatly appreciated because they help spread the love. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode of P3, when we will feature Ginger Cottrell. She's going to tell us what power, passion, and purpose mean to her. Till next time, peace be in us.